Hi, and welcome to It's Over the Sandwich. I'm Zach Funk.
I'm Joe Kira.
And again, we are talking about Venture Brothers. We just watched the two most recent episodes, episodes 4 and 5 of Season 7, and now we're going to talk about them in the show in general again, because that got us viewers.
Yes, that was... And also, we're really enjoying talking about them. The show is really great, and I have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, we fucking love the Venture Brothers.
So, we have two episodes that we just watched. Two very different episodes.
Yeah.
And... I loved both of them, and they were both weird, but they were really different, and I kind of want to talk about the most recent one, episode 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel we'll start with episode 5, because that seems the appropriate place to start.
Yeah, well, 5 is much more of a heavier lore episode.
Yeah.
Granted, 4 could seem bigger later on, but 4 more seem like you're just, okay, we're taking, the Morphic trilogy has ended, here's just what's happening.
Yeah, here's what's happening with the...
But we'll get to all that stuff anyway, Joe.
Alright, so, again, enormous spoilers. You should know that by now, but...
If you haven't watched these episodes, ignore me!
Yes, we'll make that joke like every time.
We will, it's a great joke.
So, Dean might be just a clone of Rusty, kind of.
Yeah, no, they said that, well, the helper... said that, and I want to look that up because the helper Model 2's voice sounded familiar.
Yeah.
And the fact that he mentioned New Zealand makes me think he's a New Zealand actor. I don't think it was, but I really hope it was, I just forget how to pronounce the guy's name. The guy who directed Thor Ragnarok and co-wrote was in What We Do in the Shadows, and he was the voice of Korg in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, okay.
Just because I was like, hey, I'm a helper, and I'm going to...
Korg is my favorite character.
Oh, Korg is great.
But we're not here to talk about Korg.
Watch next time for a special Korg episode.
Oh my god. Is he in the comic books at all?
Yes and no, but we'll get into that in our special Korg episode.
Yes!
Which will never actually happen.
Alright, so... yeah, again, this was an interesting thing, because it was the talking about the Treaty of Tolerance, which was referenced a bunch of times in previous episodes, and...
For example, I believe it was mentioned... when was it Hank and Dean, or just one of them had testicular torsion?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And, by Article so and so of the Treaty of Tolerance, you have to let them go to get medical attention. You can no longer arch them when they're having a medical emergency unrelated to the arching.
And just like that was such a it was just a neat thing where they're sitting down and talking about it, and then you have Doc Venture at the end being like, alright, my dad was a shitty dad. He made you guys just fight in a pool over it instead of actually like sitting down and talking this through to you guys. I'm going to sit down and talk to you about this. Not everyone's going to get what they want, every bit of it, but they're going to have to leave happy, and then you can tell your people you got everything you want.
Yeah, I love that line about like fairness is the philosophical tooth fairy.
Oh yeah, fairness does not exist.
Yeah, I thought that was perfect, and I'm going to use that a lot. And I'm going to tell people it's from the Venture Brothers. They're going to look at me confused, and I'm going to say, watch It's Over the Sandwich, and you'll understand.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was just...
That was one of the best, like, just speeches about life.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like, Venture Brothers really, at its core, is about life and lack of fairness and failure.
That was actually something that Doc Hammer had said about the show, is that this is a show about failure, because no one succeeds. No one gets, like, a grand success. Again, we're going to go back to the previous episode. Rusty's going to change the way people move around by selling his brother's, like, little utility belt thing. And then in his demonstration, he's in the hospital for several weeks because he jumped through a window and beat himself up really badly.
Yeah, which I believe was a reference to Hudsucker Proxy, the way he jumps out the window there. And I love that, too, just he's talking and the blood, and then... Medical tip, don't remove the thing.
Yeah,
that's just going to make the blood come out more.
Yeah, you wait until a doctor does that, and you're in a stable situation.
Yeah, because we saw that from the show, too. They took it out, and he got even worse.
Yeah, and then just went down, and then floated away.
It was a great, that's Rusty Venture moment.
Yeah.
Regardless, with the Treaty of Tolerance, the idea of both heroes and villains, like, they get into this argument are, saying, like Brock Sampson's like, yeah, let's stop being politically correct. We're the good guys, you're the bad guys.
Yeah.
Which was I love that moment, and the idea of
that's not how the Guild of Calamitous Intent sees itself.
Well, but also when we're talking about the fairness about not being a real thing. That there is the Guild of Calamitous Intent, there is the OSI, there is the Treaty of Tolerance, there are all these bureaucratic things you have to go through to be able to arch things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, in the books you see behind me here and other comics, if you're the Blob from X-Men and you want to fight Captain Marvel, sure, you're gonna get your ass kicked right away, but there's no bureaucracy to stop you.
Yeah, and I love that about this world because it takes all of those things and it actually starts forming them into a society and a world that makes sense for that world. Because, like, if it was just random villains running around doing whatever they wanted, things would go bad really quickly, and you would need people to step in and rein people in.
Yeah,
and
like clearly the Venture Brothers universe has never had a Civil War type situation.
Yeah.
Because things are very well regulated.
Yeah.
You have to be this, you're a level 5 villain. They're arguing whether a level 5 villain gets 1 or 2 OSI agents to show up.
Yeah. And talking, like, that was a really great thing, and which is also funny because they're talking about a level 5, and Monarch was a level 5 at the beginning of the thing.
Yeah, and in other things where it's like, okay, you're Carnage, you're a mid to upper mid-level villain. Hey, guess what? The Sentry's gonna pick you up, take you into space, and rip you in half and call it a day. Oh, the Sentry.
Oh, the Sentry is such a good hero/villain. Spoilers for the Sentry.
Yeah, read the Sentry.
But just, this was such a good thing, and actually it's funny because I was going to say they're very different things, but like there's a theme there between the two that we can kind of tie together of just, you have all this weird bureaucracy and things, but then you also have like these people who have to exist in the world that they exist in.
Yeah.
And that actually ties it back to episode 4, where you have the son of this great supervillain who just wants to like be a teacher and not be crazy and evil and whatever, and then like the Monarch tries to take out Wide Whale's daughter, and then he melts his face and starts throwing fire, and it's just like, oh, this is something this guy can just do. And
and then Dean just gives him at Monarch a check to go away.
Which is the sort of thing that Dean would do, and just because, like, part of the thing I love about this show is Dean would know that $1 million sounds like a lot of money. And again, he's very well educated. He has no sense of money. He has no sense of that because he's never had to do anything like that.
Yeah, the Ventures, even for when they say, like, Rusty's running out of money, they've never experienced, like, oh, we're broke. We can't pay the rent on the Venture compound.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we got to go back to the Venture compound in episode 5.
That made me really happy.
That made me so happy, but it did make me just a little disappointed because here's what I had hoped would happen with the Venture compound. We mentioned money and things. I had this theory that Rusty, knowing Rusty, is probably not up on his taxes. And so I was really hoping that the government would repossess the Venture compound and sell it at auction.
And that, like, the Monarch would have bought it?
No, the Monarch is the too obvious choice. My choice to have bought... Because you're pointing, it's like, who do you think?
Underbite?
No. I have something better than Underbite.
Ooh.
My choice to have bought the Venture compound at government auction is Augustus St. Cloud.
Oh, I love Augustus St. Cloud. He's the worst supervillain because he doesn't know how to do it. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, just an asshole with money, but there's the whole, like, collector thing, so he would buy the Venture compound as a collector's item.
Yeah.
And then we could ideally get another Billy Quizboy versus Augustus St. Cloud episode, and I love their rivalry.
Apparently we are getting one of those at some point.
Fuck yeah!
Right, you don't watch the freaking trailers.
I want to be surprised by these episodes.
Yeah, there's going to be a Billy Quizboy Augustus St. Cloud episode. I don't know, they were playing tennis or something, I don't know.
It doesn't matter, and that's another thing, jumping back to, like, regulation of Augustus St. Cloud joins the Guild of Calamitous Intent just so he can officially arch Billy Quizboy.
Yeah.
Because he'll get in trouble if it's not official.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about regulation. It's just, alright, well, this is what I have to do. This is the palm I have to grease to arch the person I hate, so I'm going to do that.
And I love that, just like, because even going back to that episode, it was like, well, we're not really going to let you arch Billy. You have to arch someone for a year to kind of figure it out, and then he gives them a check for a lot of money, and they're like, all right, arching Billy Quiz Boy, great.
Yeah.
Which is just funny that it's like, oh, this super evil organization's a little corrupt.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm actually the OSI's pretty simple.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was it card holder and thing ended up being guild moles.
Yeah. And Dermot, we got Dermot back.
That was, you like Dermot a lot more than I do, but like
Yes.
I loved that like he joined the OSI and
Yeah, and and he's got the military buzz cut now, and he mentioned the line about my dad keeping it secret, keeping it a secret. Now, from previous episodes, we had seen that he thinks his dad is Brock.
well, he thought his dad was Brock and eventually found out that his dad was Rusty.
Oh, he had found out his dad was Rusty?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, because I remember there's that one scene where he walks away from the one thing. It's like, thanks, Dad, and then Hank's like, what does that mean?
Okay, see, I forgot about that because I was still thinking it's under the impression of Brock. Not will be like, no, that's not.
Well, I also thought it was funny that they paid off the thing. It's like, oh no, I know Jiu-Jitsu, I have a black belt. And it's like, from the community center.
Yeah. He's just, as I said, he's the white trash messiah we need and deserve. And also, jumping back to stuff with Dermot, and unexpected returns, we got the return of the female OSI agent and the Shadow Man,
Mm-hmm.
who fell in love at the end of the season 6 at the pool party.
Mm-hmm.
And they met up, and they made out, and then they got to this argument about having pee-pee on the belt. And as we're watching it, Joe was just like, it's urine on the belt. I guess she's upset at that. I'm like, no, that can't be just, they're not...
Yeah, no, I was just like, yeah, he peed on his belt, whatever. And then Phantom Limp's like, yeah, he peed on his belt, that happened.
Yeah, so Joe thought like Phantom Limp, which,
Yeah.
Joe, tune in next week's episode where Joe befriends a mug, a pointed heeled shoe, and I forget the third thing.
Damn it, now I have to record a scene where I steal one of Lex's shoes and a mug.
But, and I'm like, no, that can't be it. The PP can't be just urine. Because they keep saying PP, and...
Because eventually they would have said something else.
Yeah, the show has enough vocabulary, as we saw Rusty using every $20 word he could in his speech.
Yeah.
Rusty there, he's fucking talking like he's taking the SATs and trying to get into Harvard.
Yeah. Which he wouldn't have been able to
No,
do.
he would not have. Well, he would have been able to through money. But the... Oh, fuck, we just looked it up. What was it called?
The Peril Partnership.
The Peril Partnership. Because they'd mentioned the Peril Partnership in previous episodes, and I love the idea of there are different factions of evil.
Well, I remember even in the thing, the video that Dr. Orpheus had got talking about like the advantages of picking a guild-sanctioned member, or a guild-sanctioned supervillain, and it was just like all these things that they do, and it's just like, okay, so the Peril Partnership, the Canadian thing, the alpha force of this,
Yeah.
or the evil alpha force of this universe is
Alpha
going...
Flight.
Alpha Flight. I don't care. They're Canadian.
Yeah, well, you know what else?
You know what? Thank you to all our Canadian viewers, all of you that are bears.
I'm going to assume Ryan Reynolds watches us, and thank you for your great performances as Deadpool and bringing us that.
Yes, thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for watching Is It Worth a Sandwich?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for derailing your train of thought.
Out of alcohol.
Thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for drinking Joe's alcohol.
Oh, Peril Partnership. Oh, thank you.
The Peril Partnership has a mole in the guild, and who knows, they might have moles and other things, but apparently the Peril Partnership is a big enough deal that the OSI has a problem, because this OSI agent clearly didn't have a problem hooking up with a member of the guild.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about that, and it's like, oh, well, you're a member of the Peril Partnership, and see, I think this is going to be interesting because you're going to see like potential. We might get supervillains fighting supervillains.
I know.
So something that completely off topic, but that I would love to see happen for the Monarch, who was very prevalent in episode 4 and absent entirely from episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
A callback from forever ago was whenever he went to go fight, or whenever he went to go arch Dr. Dugong, Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch was like, "You're not an assassin, you've killed the last couple of arches." I'm really hoping they just kind of put Monarch to what he's good at, going out and killing people.
That'd be interesting.
And, like, that he's not because just coming to the point where it's his destiny and what he's good at is just being an assassin for the guild.
Okay, I'm gonna run.
Like, I think that would be a really fun...
I'm gonna run with that idea.
Yeah.
Who's already an established villain killer? The Blue Morpho.
Oh my god, that's even more perfect! And, like, his wife understands that.
So it's like, hey, listen, but we don't want this coming back on the guild, or we don't want the Monarch as a member of the guild. We're gonna have you dressed up like the Blue Morpho.
Yeah, and to go kill a bunch of people. Oh my god, that would be the best! Oh!
Doc Hammer, Jackson Public, be our friends.
Yes, be our friends. Please hire us to help you write the show.
We understand you won't, but it'd be really sweet.
It would be. It would be great. But, yeah, like... I don't know, I feel like that's what the Monarch is supposed to do. He comes up with all these crazy creative things, but, like, he's doing it to just piss off Dr. Venture, and if he went to just go out and eliminate targets of the guild, like, he's really good at it.
He is.
And if you then put in 21 with that, he wouldn't feel so bad about killing people if he knew they were bad guys who were hurting things, though he might.
Yeah, because if you think about it, when Monarch was trying to kill villains to raise his rank, he still wasn't doing it.
Yeah, he was putting them in a basement and they were going saw on each other.
I have to eat their butts! Or the one guy just let the tarantula, not Scaramantula, but the another spider, walking spider. He just let him go in the woods.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you're free, boy, go.
Did he actually? Because that was very ambiguous, and you weren't sure. And then in the episode 2, when they were doing that Jaws thing, that we completely forgot to talk about how they were doing a segment from Jaws.
Oh, they did a whole bunch of Jaws references.
That was so awesome. And then the walking spider's widow comes up and slaps Mrs. the Monarch.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. I'm sorry, she has a proper title.
Her name is Sheila.
Sheila and Malcolm. That makes me so happy that we learned the Monarch's real name. That was just... Venture Brothers occasionally gives you something you didn't know you wanted.
Yeah.
And that is one of those moments where it may have been rattling around in the back of your head, but it was never like hey, I want you... Like, I never, fully said, hey, I wonder what the Monarch's real name is.
Yeah, and
because it's so irrelevant to him, because as he said, whenever I laugh at regular jokes, I go, ha 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 ha.
Yeah. He is just the Monarch. Also, in the sense of not knowing what you wanted, Malcolm just sounds like his name. Like, if you would have told me the Monarch's name is Dave.
Or Jeff or something, you would have been like, eh.
Maybe Jeff, like the Geoff?
Yeah, maybe, but then I would have said Jeffrey.
Yeah. And it fit. And I love this show. And one of the things that it feels like they could have been teasing from episode 4, which I hope they don't go for, is Hank and Dean feuding over Serena.
I'm very curious to see where that goes, because, Dean falls in love very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Hank kind of does whatever, but it's just... I could see them doing that. I could also see them dropping that, and it was just he got a kiss and now he got a boner.
Yeah. Which also... let's see. Dean gets a boner. I'm just waiting for him to start calling Serena the Wearadile now.
Yeah.
You're the Wearadile!
Oh, that was a great episode. We do have to do the thing where we just... So Zach and I had discussed... after Venture Brothers this season ends, maybe just going back and talking about some of the older episodes, because, they're really good, and I would love to talk about them, and certainly there's not enough people talking about random things on the internet.
No, there's not, and damn it, at least one of you demanded this.
Yes. Master Plumber, probably.
Yeah, thank you. Shout out to Master Plumber.
We're both out of alcohol.
We can fix that later. The important thing is we are talking about the Venture Brothers.
Yes.
And I think, are we out of things to talk about for the Venture Brothers?
Oh, certainly not, but this seems like a good place to end the episode.
I think it is. We are out of alcohol, which means it's time to end the episode. Thank you for watching Is It Where the Sandwich talks about the Venture Brothers again. I am Zach Funk.
I'm Joe Kira, and go Team Venture, because we have forgotten to do this every time.
Yeah! Go Team Venture! Da, 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 da.